Okay, so I'm going to filter sterilize this 1000X metal EDTA solution into 4 different containers so I can keep 4 different batches going. And I like spacing them out so I don't trip over my own hands. And what I'm going to do is give this pipette tip box a little cleaning. Put it back here. We're in a HEPA hood that had UV lights on. So then I'm going to gently, carefully, and without having my gloves touching the edge, I'm just going to set these back on the pipette. Well, I just sterilized down this bench, but let's just be sure, because metal contamination can be removed through dilution, but microbes cannot, because metals don't multiply. So I'm carefully taking these off. Placing them back there on that sterilized pipette tip box. Try to get out any last bits of milieu. Otherwise I'll end up with a diluted solution of whatever I'm filtering. Okay, now we return to this. This syringe barrel still contains the EDTA cleaning solution. I'm just passing a little bit through this syringe. I still have the container that it came in, the filter, the syringe filter, and I'm going to remove this, put it back in here. It's still sterile, it's in the UV hood. This is just a rinse solution, so I'm going to discard it. And this has a little lock at the end of the syringe barrel that has to be negotiated. Lock like that. Now, this doesn't have to be sterile. It's everything downstream of that filter that has to remain sterile. Now I'm going to put this back on the syringe. I'm going to take care to keep the sterile end of that syringe filter from contacting anything else. Take the solution I'm trying to filter. Just going to load it up. I'll do roughly 50 mils at a time. This is 100 mils, going to go into 4 tubes. Now I'm going to pass the first little bit through because there's a lot of rinse solution still stuck in that filter. Now, in order to stop dripping metals all over the place, I'll pull back just a touch to stop that dripping. Now I go over to the filter. I usually brace my arm. There should be no problem with the tip, the clean end of this syringe filter touching the polycarbonate tube, because both should be sterile. However, I try not to anyway. The reason we're splitting this 100 mils into 3.5 or 4 batches is to prevent to minimize the chance of contamination. You can envision taking 1 mil out of a 10-liter vessel, and eventually you're going to screw up and contaminate it. Okay, so now I'm going to notice I'm reaching around so my arm is not above these sterile tubes, just in case a bacterium decides to jump off and land in the solution. The ones that I have filled, and I filled 1 here, I'm sealing it up. And basically repeat this one more time. Okay, so we had 100. We did waste some of it on purging out the filter. So we may only end up with 3. These tubes hold 28 mils, maybe a little more. You may notice there's a puddle of liquid on the top side of this syringe filter. I'm a little suspicious of it, so I'm going to try not to let it go. Now I'm pulling back on the plunger to keep the dropping until I move to the next one. But that liquid on the top of the syringe filter, I've been very careful at the bottom, and I'm not sure that the top is sterile, so I'm going to make sure that liquid doesn't sneak by into our vial of sterile 1000X metal EDTA. Okay.